Donald Trump shows the world that the president of the United States can handle anything, except for some jokes from late night hosts. This is just another day. Last night's abrupt suspension of Jimmy Kimmel and the indefinite suspension of his program has stunned an already overly stunned nation. And today, we found out all the reasons why.
The point is that Kimmel's comments went way too far for some television executives. Not for me, not for you, but for them. And they turned up the heat on Kimmel, the host, to calm down the rhetoric.
Okay, so that's why they did it. It was done by executives to calm down the rhetoric. Got it. An A-plus choice on the messenger. I mean, who better than Brian Kilmeade, who 4 days ago said this?
Involuntary lethal injection or something. Just kill him.
Glad we've got that guy serving as the moral compass on the national discourse. But I don't know. Anyone else got an explanation for what's going on?
Jimmy Kimmel was fired because he lied on ABC about the identity of the man that Tyler Robinson that murdered, assassinated, martyred Charlie Kirk. He lied and said he was MAGA. Tyler Robinson was not MAGA, not one bit. He was part of Antifa. He was in a relationship. With someone who identified as furry and trans.
First of all, MAGA and Antifa are ideologies, not official groups with membership cards that require swiping before you're let in the door. But second, this idea that this murderer was or wasn't in a relationship with someone who is trans or a furry doesn't mean anything. People are allowed to be in relationships with whoever they want. And I'm surprised that you have a problem with someone who's into cosplay because you seem to be fucking a guy who cosplays as a journalist every single day. Can't someone give us a clearer explanation as to why Kimmel was taken off the air?
Our goal and our obligation here is to make sure that broadcasters are serving the public interest. And if there's local TV stations that don't think that running that programming does it, then they have every right under the law in their contracts to preempt it. And we'll see how this plays out. But I do think that, again, we are in the midst of a massive shift in dynamics in the media ecosystem for lots of reasons.
Exactly. So many reasons. I mean, one might be that media companies like Nexstar that own ABC affiliates around the country and are the ones who capitulated to the Trump administration's demand that Kimmel be taken off the air are looking to acquire their rival for $6.2 billion. And that crazy lucrative deal probably wouldn't go through unless they did what the FCC chairman wanted. Why do I feel like there's another reason, though?
I think there's a lot of commentary on late night having shifted dramatically over the last 10 years. It used to be that they would go for laugh lines, and it's shifted to going for applause lines.
Gee, I wonder what changed over the last, 10 years that could have inspired comedians to write different types of material. Look, I can tell that Brendan Carr has a terrific sense of humor, and so I'm probably saying stuff he already knows. But one of the main jobs of a late night host is to talk about what's going on in the world through their point of view. And when what's going on in the world is a journalist asking Donald Trump how he's holding up after the murder of Charlie Kirk, and the president's response is,
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks. They just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House.
To not point out that that is an absurd response would be a dereliction of duty. I mean, even the guy who paid $300 million to get Trump into the White House knows how important comedy is. Except he said it was going to be the left who was going to kill it.
The left wanted to make comedy illegal, you know? Yeah. Like, you can't make fun of anything. So then it was like, comedy sucks. It's like, nothing's funny. You can't make fun of anything. It's like, legalize comedy. Yeah.
See, according to Brendan Carr, there is nothing remotely humorous about that. I mean, to say Elon looks less like a wealthy CEO and more like a swollen Ed Hardy model trying to navigate his way out of a K-hole isn't funny at all. In fact, it's just downright inappropriate. Look, a comedian's material is not what's out of bounds here. It is the actions that inform the material that are. But I still feel like there's some other reason behind the canning of Kimmel.
Jimmy Kimmel was fired because he had bad ratings more than anything else, and he said a horrible thing about a great gentleman known as Charlie Kirk. And Jimmy Kimmel is not a talented person. He had very bad ratings, and they should have fired him a long time ago. So, you can call that free speech or not. He was fired for lack of talent.
And if there's one person who knows about talent, It's a guy who fires a highly decorated chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and then picks a man to lead the entire Pentagon who has a history of binge drinking and sexual assault. Because talent is his top priority, and he doesn't care which parts of the Constitution he has to shred to get it.
Do you have concerns about, some people look at this and your critics will say, well, this crackdown is a crackdown on free speech?
It's interesting. I watch your show and I watch others, and I see people saying things. They're crazy. These people are crazed lunatics, even the way they'll answer. It's like you'll see them, and the things they say are really bad. But they look crazy.
I know! It's like, get these crazy people saying crazy stuff off my TV already and get them into the halls of Congress where they belong. And the reality is, Donald Trump and every one of his right-wing sycophants can float whatever far-fetched reasons they want as to why Jimmy Kimmel shouldn't be on the air, but the truth is, there is only one reason for Trump's actions, and that is, Donald Trump is a fragile, spineless, thin-skinned motherfucker. And I don't say that because we now have to watch his old man blood traverse his tiny hands for the next 3 years. I mean that because this man can't handle anyone saying or writing anything about him that isn't pure ass-kissing flattery, which is insane when you realize Trump and all the Republicans control all three branches of government, have a majority of justices on the Supreme Court, control a majority of state legislatures, and still whine about being victims. In just this year alone, the Trump family has earned $3.4 billion off the presidency, and yet this is what Eric Trump titles his book.
All right, Eric, your new book, Under Siege, coming into #1.
Yeah, pretty sure every American would love to be under siege like that. Just this week, Trump sued the New York Times for defamation to the tune of $15 billion. And one of the reasons he believes he's owed billions, Trump's legal team also argued that the Times wrongly gave producer Mark Burnett credit for the success of the NBC reality contest show The Apprentice, rather than to Trump, who served as the show's host and star. That's right, the President of the United States is pissed off that he didn't get enough credit. If only someone would finally pay but a sliver of attention to poor, ignored Donald Trump. And this is on top of the countless other lawsuits that Trump has brought against media outlets for daring to allow criticism to sully their pages or airwaves, or simply reporting the truth. The sad part is, besides all of it, is that having a thin-skinned leader is not super original. There are a handful of other leaders around the world who also can't stand to be criticized. Guys like the Prime Minister of Hungary, Viktor Orban, North Korea's Supreme Leader, Kim Jong-un, the President of China, Xi Jinping, and Trump's Siberian soulmate, Vladimir Putin. All of these men have used the power of their government to silence and intimidate media outlets, journalists, and anyone else who speaks ill of them as a way of maintaining their grip on power. It's not exactly an accident that this is North Korea's highly rated late-night host. You know, her classic bits like kind tweets and a closer look at our heroic dear leader. But while Trump's autocratic moves aren't original, what is original is that it's being done in America. This isn't a move towards authoritarianism. We've arrived. Donald Trump is baking an autocrat cake and following the recipe to a T. Suppression of dissent, election manipulation, taking control of our institutions, declaring states of emergency to enact any measures he wants, and now using intimidation tactics to silence free speech. Donald Trump may occupy the most powerful office in our country right now, but through his petty and vindictive actions, he is showing the world how weak he truly is. We cannot sit back and watch him destroy our values like this. We need to make our voices heard, protect the rights of all Americans, and I could have sworn there was a third thing.
Legalize comedy. Yeah.
Sure. Before you go, if you enjoyed this content and you want to see more and support independent media, please subscribe to this channel. The subscribe button will be right here on the screen. But second, the reality is that we are now in a political environment where this administration can lean on any of the social media platforms to suppress certain voices if they don't like critical coverage. That means my longevity here is in the hands of a few tech billionaires who are already making it clear that they are willing to cater to this administration. To that end, signing up for my newsletter is a way for me to reach you directly if that ever becomes necessary. I'll put the link right here on the screen as well, so please sign up. It's free, but there's also an option to do a paid subscription if you'd like to support me and my team. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching.